Hello. I thought this afternoon I would take a walk around the front of my house just to show you all the different things that are growing and blooming around there. Miss Mimi can't come out to the front yard because I'm afraid she might get hit by cars, because I live on a fairly busy street. This is my side yard between my neighbor and myself. I've got ivy. This is a satsuma tree. I kind of like to tuck things in every little nook and cranny. I let ivy grow on the fence, but I don't like to let it grow on my house. I have azaleas and nandinas. I'm attempting to get ivy to grow on these little metal tripods, whatever you'd call them. I got them 2 years ago. And since ivy does pretty well here, I thought I would try growing them and are filling them with ivy. Unfortunately, this is the only one that seems to have taken. Well, I'll figure out something to put in the others. This is my one and only original Nandina. You may recall I've talked in the past about multiplying a Nandina. Well, this is the one. When I bought the house, this was the only one that was here. And all the others around the house, anywhere else you see them, came from a root cutting off of this one plant. In fact, all of these Nandinas did as well. It doesn't take, they grow pretty fast. It doesn't take long for them to get tall, probably about 4 or 5 years for them to get that tall. I've not seen the large Nandinas for sale anymore. For some reason, they seem to be out of favor as opposed to the dwarf ones. Just another view to the backyard. And this is my front yard. Of course, that's the garbage end of things. I have a big crepe myrtle here, which I've pollarded, and it's coming back now. And I have my little white picket fence. I've got some tomatoes growing against the fence, as well as assorted and sundry other small herbaceous perennials. Last week I took a picture of the amaryllis in bloom, and since then we've had some windy weather and I've had to cut two. I didn't really have to, I wanted to bring them in the house. So this is after cutting two of the amaryllis down from that side. As you can see, I've got more coming along here. These sago palms that I have in the front yard, I didn't have to trim. For some reason, I guess the protection of the house, they did not have any frost damage. So if there's no damage, I leave the fronds on. I've got a banana tree. That banana was not protected throughout the winter. That little nook protected it without me covering it or anything, so it's doing well. I have other bananas in the backyard. They get about 10 feet tall every year, but right now they had to be cut down to the ground. This is just a little architectural fragment I found, and I love to go antiquing, and I saw that in an antique shop, and I thought, ooh, that would look nice in my garden. I'm not certain I'm going to keep it here, but at least for now, this is a spot, or the spot that I put it. Where the grass is, there used to be a palm here. I had a pindo palm, and it's the only palm in my history of gardening that I actually lost. The stem of it got crown rot, which is a fungal disease, and when I found out that's what it was, I immediately took it out and planted this grass in its place. It had gotten awfully big for this spot, and the crown rot showed itself by basically the new leaves of the plant turned yellow and eventually brown and gushy and smelly, and the rest of the plant looked good, but the heart of it was gone. So It apparently is very catchy from what I've read to other palms, so as soon as I identified what it was, we took that palm tree out. Here's some other amaryllis. These have been here, and actually they're both doubles. These have been here for about 5 or 6 years now. The amaryllis that you plant in the ground, they're all, of course, ones that I've had in the house prior to putting them out. They tend to bloom about every other year, depending on how much green is left on the plant. We get a flurry of grasshoppers in another month or so, and they seem to absolutely love the foliage on the amaryllis. And of course, if they eat the foliage, you're not going to get any goodness for next year. It doesn't kill the plant, but it may not bloom next year. So in any event, I'm hoping that these will bloom again next year. The exciting thing here is this is kind of my wild area. It's also where I have my collection of camellias. I kind of have this area, it looks nice, but in reality, I hardly ever come here because of street noises. But I do enjoy watching the birds. I have a bird feeder and a bird bath. And I come out here mostly to weed. There is a bench here. I could sit, and I probably will at some point. I have some irises around the base of this water fountain, or bird bath, and I saw that a couple of them had buds, which is highly unusual for me. I'll take pictures of them when they bloom. And I say that because these have been here for about 4 or 5 years. And for some reason, they only tend to bloom in the fall. So this is the first time that I've ever had them bloom this time of the year. So for whatever reason, they're blooming now, and that's okay. Let's see. This is just a look at the rest of my front yard. And as you can hear, it's kind of noisy there. Okay, that concludes the visit for today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.